Welcome, friends, to our coffee break with Dr. Tara. And today we're going to be talking about GI mapping. Have you ever heard of that? And if not, Dr. Tara is going to fill us in about GI mapping and why it's important for us to have good gut health. So, Dr. Tara, take it away.
All right. So the big question I think a lot of people have is what is GI mapping? Well, GI mapping is a gastrointestinal mapping. It's assessment of your fecal matter to help determine the microorganisms present in your microbiome. So our microbiome is basically the internal workings of our whole digestive system. So having an assessment actually helps to understand if there's a balance of like good bacteria and what bad bacteria and maybe some other things that might be on board in your GI tract. So the issues that a lot of times when people would need this, there's some different types of issues that people have. A lot of people with autoimmune diseases, irritable bowel syndrome or irritable bowels, digestive complaints like whether you have diarrhea or constipation. Actually, brain fog is a really big one. You just can't get over this like overwhelming brain fog. Skin problems. So if you're
Mm.
always like breaking out after you eat, having acne or psoriasis, that can all be from something that's going on in your gut. And the other big one that I think a lot of people don't ever think about is anxiety and mood disorders. Depression, anxiety can all come just from our gut. That's where it stems from. And so that's a big one. Plus, there's also like diabetes, people who can't lose weight no matter how well they eat and exercise. So, those are some issues that people have with GI mapping
That's
that can
awesome. And
help.
it's so crazy to think of like things appearing on our skin tied to our gut, or even like anxiety and stress and things like that. I don't think people realize how important our gut is to our, things that are happening in our brain and emotions. And
Right.
you brought up another good point is like how we don't know what's like in our gut, like what we might have picked up, like people traveling all over the
Right.
place,
Right.
right? Um, you know, maybe you're getting sick all the time could be a clue too,
Right.
you
Yes.
know?
Yes. Definitely. And our gut is actually our second brain, and there's actually more things produced in our digestive tract than in our brain. So there's more neurotransmitters produced in our gut than our brain. So with that, we have the gut brain axis, which is basically can be really off for people, and that's what a lot of our symptoms are derived from. So yeah, it's definitely something if you're struggling with any type of issues that's been chronic in nature. Chronic means something more than 6 weeks. There's people that have had stuff for years and years, and taking medications and stuff like that. It just helps masks everything, but it doesn't help solve the problem and
Right.
what's actually happening, the root cause of it, I should say. So,
And don't you think it could probably even make things worse too with all
oh,
the
yes,
prescriptions?
definitely. A lot of medications actually kill a lot of our beneficial bacteria that we need to balance everything, and so yeah, it can cause a cascading effect of multiple things that can, um, you know, turn someone's microbiome totally off into a way that we just don't want. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's say somebody that's watching this is thinking that they have a lot of the symptoms that we probably mentioned. What would be their step? What would they need to do?
So, GI mapping is safe for everyone, anywhere from infants to advanced individuals, basically, in age, can benefit from this process of understanding how the microbiome works on a more specific level and getting a individualized focused care that can solve the problem. So the best part is there's, I should say, it's a very easy test to do. There's a kit involved that we ship to your home, or you pick up here locally at our office, and you take it home and you take a sample of some fecal matter of yourself, and you put it in a little bottle, shake it up, and then you send it off. It already comes with a self-stamped kind of FedEx package, and you send it off to the lab. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks or so for the lab to get it, to analyze it, and so forth. And then we get a report of what they found. And then we do the analyzing of the report and set up the protocol, and then we send it right off. And we have a meeting with you, and we go over what we found, some different protocols and therapies that we found really work for people. And typically it's a 3-month process. And I feel that anyone can modify their diet and certain things for 3 months. You know, we can stick to a 3-month plan and be consistent. And it really does work. It really does work. It's amazing.
That's awesome. So now let's say somebody's watching this and they live in a different state than where we are. We're in the beautiful state of Alaska. Dr. Tara has a wonderful office in Wasilla, Alaska. So is this possible for somebody to do that doesn't live near you?
Yes, of course. We can just ship the kit right to you. You do everything, you ship it off, and then we can meet via Zoom or anything to go over your test results. We can send you the link of the items that you need to order to stay on your protocol. And then we do regular once a month check-ins to see how you're doing. So
Nice.
yes.
That's awesome. And so tell me some of the success stories that of people who have done this and have been successful going through the 3 month. I mean, what do they share with you? I know you mentioned you have even family members that have done this before.
Yes, yes. Well, there's so many. Let's see. So I've had my own daughter who had lots of allergies. Pretty much we got an allergy test done, and she was allergic to just about everything that we would eat in our house, every fruit, every vegetable. The only thing she wasn't allergic to was rice and meat. And I was like, okay, how are we going to do this? So she would just break out really bad on her skin where it would even crack and bleed. And it was horrible. And then she would break down and take Benadryl when it was really bad, which of course she was also kind of allergic to Benadryl. So that had its own issues. But at the time, it was the only thing that really helped her. But we did this test. We found out that she had a lot of times people talk about SIBO, if you ever hear about that, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. Well, she had CFO, which is small intestinal fungal overgrowth, which is totally different, and you have to address it very differently. So she did, and it was a 3-month, and we're like, you can do this. Really, the first month is the hardest because that's the kill phase. And so you have to be very strict, certain things, people have to be very strict. They'll have a list of things that you can eat. And granted, she was a teenager, so she thought she was dying. And she had a whole list of things that she could eat, like vegetables and stuff like that. And she's just like, I'm not going to eat that. I'm just not going to eat that. I'm just going to eat rice and meat, and that's it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So the first 3 weeks was a little rough, but she got better. Her gut was healed after 3-4 months or so with maintenance. And now she doesn't have a lot of those allergies, and it's totally healed up for her. She can eat a lot of the foods that she wants to eat, and she, feels like she's a real person again. Because that's a very emotional thing, when someone feels like the whole world hates me. Every food hates me. Every
Yeah.
tree I'm allergic to, and
Right.
so now she's living a very full life, and it's great to see. But I have another person who really suffered from migraines and brain fog and confusion, um,
Mhm.
and I was just like, well, let's do a test. And she's like, okay, I'm in for it, and she did it. And she tells everybody it was kind of hard the first month, but man, if you can make it through those first couple of weeks, she's
Yeah.
like, I never thought I would have this much energy. Never thought my brain would be so clear. And she's like, it totally solved most of her issues. So yeah, it's we have to watch the foods that we eat and so forth, because certain things, it's just like with anything, if you get out of balance, you're
Mhm.
gonna suffer for a few days.
Mhm.
Sugar is really not our friend.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though it is so good, it's just not our friend.
Right.
Um, so so yeah, it's a way that most people that you there's no other way to really find out what's going on the inside like that.
Mhm.
I mean, everything
Mhm.
else is we're just basically doing it off symptoms, and we're
Right.
chasing the symptoms around.
Yeah.
Oh, this seems like this and this seems like this. Well, it's just like my daughter. We thought she had SIBO, and
Mhm.
but the thing was, and we were treating it like that because she had all the same symptoms, but it wasn't. It was
Wow.
SIBO. And so it wasn't until we got the test, did it, it changed her life. So yeah,
Wow.
it's a great test. Of course,
Yeah.
insurances don't really like to cover it. But
Of course not.
you know but it saves people's lives, and they get a quality of life back and
Oh yeah.
start feeling better and have energy, and they get rid of all these problems that are just festering and boiling up on the inside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's great. So now you mentioned kids can do this too. What is the youngest age that you've actually done this test for?
let's see. I want to say she was about 9 months old. Yeah, and there was a lot going on. And
Wow.
and a lot of times people don't realize that one round of antibiotics in kids can cause infections in their
Mm.
body, and their body just doesn't recover, and it just causes she wouldn't sleep very well, and she cried all the time. Well, her
Mm.
whole intestines were inflamed, and it was
Mm.
like inflamed. And so um yeah, and granted, she was breastfeeding, so it
Mm.
was also the mother too. So both of them together had to change, and they had to watch their diet. But they fixed it, and she's a happy little baby now. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now did the mom have to do the test too and get her gut all
Well,
right or
since the baby was the one that was the most problem, we did it on the baby first,
okay.
and because she was breastfeeding, we we just figured mom had the same issues going on. So mom and baby just did it together. Granted,
Oh, wow.
she could have, sent in for another test, but she didn't have the money for that. So I was like, well, let's just treat it. We're going to treat both of you the same. And
Yeah.
it was great. And she's saying even that she feels so much better because she had a lot of depression
Uh-huh.
and anxiety, and she didn't realize that her moods were really created by what was going on in her gut. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
incredible. This is a good thing a lot of people can benefit from, and I'm so
Oh,
excited that
yes.
you're doing it here in Wasilla. And, for people who are watching, you can still get this test done by Dr. Tara. Um,
Yes.
and so, how would they contact you? What's the best way to get this test done if they're
So
interested?
they can contact my office. Our phone number is 907-357-1818, or they can reach us at Altair, which is Altair, at altairinwellness.com. That is our local email, and you could just say, I want to do the GI map test. We'll take down your information, and we can get a kit sent right out to you.
Awesome. And I will put all the details in the description below so that you'll have it just in case you weren't able to catch that if you're watching this on, on your on your way to work or whatever. Just check it out in the details below. And I'm so so excited about this talk that we had.
Yes.
So yay.
Yes. Well, I just encourage all of you, if you really want to know what's going on, invest in yourself and invest in your future of feeling good. And it's a very simple process. It really is not as bad, and it can probably save you from many, many things further down the road.
Yes,
So,
I agree. Awesome. Well, thanks, Dr. Tara. And if you love this
thanks.
information, make sure to give it a like, share it with
Yes.
a friend, and subscribe to my channel where we will be talking about more about gut issues, gut health, and so much more. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jennifer.